I just.
Alright, you're not speaking? That's the best for last, huh?
What they say,
Did you all straighten out there? No.
Thanks to you. Thank you so much.
What you planning on?
I've checked it.
I'd like to call this September 18th meeting of the Cookeville City Council to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Anderson.
Present.
Councilman Shelton.
Here.
Mayor Salee.
Present.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Present.
Councilman Williams.
Present.
All present.
If we could all rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda, Mr. Shipley?
No changes.
No changes. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have our motion and our second. Seeing no discussion, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Brings us to our old business portion of the meeting. We have several items here. We don't have a consent agenda tonight. Item 2, consider approval of minutes of council meetings held August the 7th, August the 21st, and September the 4th, 2008. Do we have a motion and a second to approve?
Move approval. Second.
We have our motion and a second. Any discussion by the council? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 3, consider on second and final reading ordinance 080812, rezoning a portion of 1724 and 1742 East Spring Street from RS20 Single Family Residential to CL Local Commercial. Sponsor Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, the property is depicted on the screen. Proposed rezoning has been approved by the Planning Commissions, recommended by the Planning Department, and we've received no calls or comments since first reading.
Do we have a motion second to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no comments, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 4, consider on second and final reading ordinance 080813, historic overlay zoning for the property at 118 East 1st Street. Sponsor Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, this property is depicted on the screen. The Historic Zoning and Planning Commissions have determined that the subject property complies with the requirements for historic overlay zoning and have recommended that it be included within the North Dixie Avenue Historic District. The Planning Department concurs with this recommendation. No calls or comments have been received since first reading.
Do we have a motion and a second for approval?
So moved.
Second.
We have our motion and our second. Any discussion by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Item 5, consider on second and final reading ordinance 080814, closure and abandonment of a portion of the undeveloped right-of-way of Poplar Avenue. Sponsor Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, the portion of the alley is depicted on the screen. There's the actual survey. The Planning Commission recommended for the approval of the closure and abandonment of the portion of the undeveloped right-of-way of Poplar Avenue as requested, which is 20 feet in width, with the establishment of a minimum price based on the per square foot tax appraised value of the adjacent property, which is owned by the requester and identified as parcel 3 on map 53B Group G. Also approving designating the remainder of the undeveloped right-of-way of Poplar Avenue and the undeveloped right-of-way contiguous of Craighead Drive as alleys, subject to the permanent removal of a structure which is located in the undeveloped right-of-way of Poplar Avenue and to the retention of utility easements as determined necessary. The Planning Department concurs with this recommendation, and we've received no calls or comments since first reading.
All right, do we have a motion second for approval, second reading?
Move approval. Second.
Our motion and our second. Discussion by the council?
I had a quick question, James. By designating Poplar as an alley, what would be, from a planning perspective, be the front yard on that lot?
It'd be treated as a side yard, and it'd be 10 feet.
Okay, but the property, the property that, the lot line that faces Poplar would be the front
No, the front
yard
would be,
that Craig had.
no, the front would be on 2nd Street.
Okay.
Which would be a 30-foot setback. Now, if this is approved, you'd have a 10-foot setback here and a 10-foot setback here, so he would gain an additional 20 feet here and an additional 20 feet here.
Okay.
Plus the property he's purchasing, which would be a total of 40 feet towards the east.
And all of this is contingent upon the removal of that existing
Yes, and that's
facility.
what made it appealing to the city manager and the planning department that we pursue this.
And is there a time limit for them to bring that piece of property down, the building down, or is...
The way it was proposed, that once this is approved, or should this be approved by the council, that before we close the deal, the building would be
Okay.
removed. Isn't that correct, Mr. Shipley?
Correct.
Any further comments by the council? Any comments from the audience? See no further comments, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mills. Item 6, second on second and final reading, ordinance 080919, amending Title 18, Chapter 1, Title 19, Chapters 1 and 2 of the Cookeville Municipal Code relative to the increase in application fees for utility service. Sponsor Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, this ordinance will increase the application fees that are paid by utility customers requesting service from the city. There's been no changes to the ordinance since first reading, and I'd recommend your approval.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second?
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion by the council? Comments from the audience? Seeing no further discussion, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson. Brings us to our new business portion of our meeting. Item 7, consider on first reading ordinance 080920, increasing electrician's licensing fee. Sponsor Jeff Littrell.
Mayor and City Council, it's beginning to be the time of year where our electrician license are becoming to be renewed. The fee since 1970 has been $10, and mainly, you know, the city got their exemption in the fall of last year, and the city started performing the electrical inspections in January this year. So we took a look at other cities and counties with an exemption that perform their own electrical inspections. We got a range anywhere from no charge in Sparta and Greenville to $50 in Oak Ridge and Jackson, Tennessee, and Johnson City and other cities, all the way up to $150 for Metro Nashville and $300 for Knox County. With this in mind, we think that $50 would be a fair fee to charge for the electrician's license. This would be the same fee that we charge for a plumbing license. If this is approved tonight, it would have a start date of January 1st, 2009. I'd ask for your approval.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion by the council? I have one quick question. This has been some time ago, but I was contacted, I believe, by an electrician that was there was some sort of logistical situation where a person applying had to come to City Hall, then to the electric department, and then back or something. They were making extra trips across town. I'm not sure exactly. It's been a while, but where do they buy the permits? And
They buy the permits from the codes department downstairs here at City Hall, and then they get their meter base and stuff from one of the engineering techs at the electric department. Generally, the technician meets them on site, my understanding,
Okay.
Tony.
Yeah, there's a process that has to be followed, Mayor, that includes the spotting of that service. You know, we have to know where on the building it's going to make sure facilities are in place. So they really need to come to our place to get that meter base set. Those are some of the things.
okay, gotcha.
I think we had some confusion earlier in the year when we first started, but as far as I know, everything's working pretty smooth.
I haven't heard any complaints or anything in a while.
How many electricians do you currently have licensed?
Currently, we have 140, but probably about 100 will be renewing. Of those 40, there's people from out of town and things that may just do one job or two jobs a year. So this would probably about 100 will be the average.
Very good.
So what are you going to do with it? Where does the extra revenue go?
It just goes back into the general fund.
General funds? Okay.
Any further comments by the council? Jim's eyes light up over there.
Where else is it gonna go?
We probably need another codes enforcement officer somewhere, don't we?
We'll have to go a little higher than...
Yeah, we'll get it, will it? Any further discussion by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Littrell. Item 8, consider approval of fire alarm security system monitoring proposals. Sponsor, Mr. Ronnie Kelly.
Mayor and council, back in 2007, TML, our insurance carrier, comes up and they do their inspections of all our facilities. During that inspection, they made a recommendation that we look at our fire alarm system at our facility, our office complex. While we were looking at that facility, we felt it was prudent to go ahead and look at a security system also. That system was put in originally with the building. It doesn't meet the current fire and safety codes. It was a proprietary system. And so we asked for proposals from the locals, security providers and fire alarm people that it's not a proprietary system. Anybody can work on it. And we've taken those proposals. I've given those to you, and our recommendation would be Vanderbilt Electric. And what I've got here on the graph is a capital cost, and then with the yearly monitoring fees included in that, the Vanderbilt Electric we feel like is the best cost-effective service.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion by the council?
And this was a recommendation from TML?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our fire alarm system wasn't monitored, so off hours, if we had something happen, it wasn't monitored. So it'll be tied in to where security system's monitored. They will call directly, get the fire department to come down off hours. And then, like I said, we added a security system.
So the security is currently not there? Just
No, we
the
don't
alarm.
have a security system. We're sort of isolated. There's a lot of transients that travel up and down between 111 and highway or the interstates. So we felt like it's prudent to go ahead and look at that too while we were doing it.
Sounds good. Any further discussion by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor? Excuse me. All vote. You don't have to be in
5
favor.
yes
You
votes,
can,
motion carries.
you can vote no if you want. That brings us, thank you, Mr. Kelly. Item 9, consider approval of purchase of canines for Cookeville Police Department, sponsor Chief Bob Terry.
Mayor and council, what we're asking for tonight is the approval to buy 2 dogs. They'll be dual-purpose dogs. The total cost will be $18,000, and we'll be purchasing them from Tar Heel Canine in North Carolina. We'll be sending the people there at different times because of staffing levels. We're proposing to pay for it from the recent dog trials that were here held in Cookeville. It's going to be funding part of it, and the rest of it will be from the drug fund. The dogs, like I said, are dual-purpose dogs, so they'll be drug dogs as well. We'd ask for your approval.
Do we have a motion and a second for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Have our motion and our second.
Just for clarification again, he said that these dogs were being purchased with funds from the dog trials, which I understand was a pretty big success, as well as the drug fund. So this money wasn't coming from the general
No, it won't
fund.
be. It's not going to come from any tax, any capital outlay item.
How many dogs now will this make?
I think we have a total of 6, and we'll have 2 that'll be retiring. Their useful life is not the same as would be for a pet, so that's what we're going to phase those 2 out.
What is the useful life? What type of usefulness do we have out of what time frame?
None really, other than just
I mean,
typically we abandon them to the owners, or the handlers, if they want to keep them.
No. I mean, like how long? Like from the day we bought them till the day they go out of
They're
service.
usually
What kind
probably 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years.
Is that dog years or?
About 2 terms on the city council.
Do we have any further comments or questions by the council? Any comments or questions by the audience? Seeing no further comments, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Chief. Item 10, consider approval of purchase of digital cameras for the patrol units, sponsor Chief Bob Terry.
Mayor and council, this is a capital item that was included in the budget. We'll buy 9 more digital cameras. The cameras that we have we purchased from a company called Digital Ally, and we'd recommend your approval.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
Have our motion and our second. Any discussion by the council?
Now, these would be are they replacing cameras, or are you adding to?
What we're doing is we're taking the old analog cameras out and phasing the digitals in. There's the quality between the 2 is just, there's no comparison.
Okay. Any further comments by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Chief. At this time, before we open up to the citizens and/or delegations, I'll open up the floor to the, or do you guys want me to do the citizens first? You usually close with some. We'll just go ahead. If there's any citizens here, we usually invite our anybody in our audience, citizens of Cookeville or the surrounding area. If you want to come in and speak to up to 3 minutes about anything, you're more than welcome to come and join us. Does anybody have any comments? Or if not, I'll now open up the floor to the council if anybody has any announcements or things going on.
There's hazardous waste collection a week from Saturday on the 27th. That's where you can, that's at Fairgrounds, and I'm not sure, that's got cell phones and all, and what else? I know it's not paint. The article in the Herald Citizen itemizes the articles that can be, but maybe need to run it again since it's the 27th. That's right. That's
Very
right.
good.
But just keep those things out of the landfills.
Absolutely. That's good. That was a good one. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's it.